Hi everybody, it's Runaway Goldfish here, featuring Kino. He's very excited. But hey everybody, it is Thursday, technically day zero of Sakura Con. And right now I am packing up. I'm looking like a hot mess. Not because it's pack up day, but also I had been sick for like almost a week. Well, not really a week, maybe like 5 days or so, but basically a week. It has not been great. I've been trying to do a lot of marketing and prep, but I could not do it. I was not feeling well, but I'm glad that I am sick now and not this weekend. So now I'm on the uptick of the sickness. So I'm excited to bring you all along. This is my first time at Sakura Con, and I can't believe it. This has been a really huge goal of mine for a very long time. I told myself that if I can make it to Sakura Con, then I know, I'm on the right path. But there are some downsides. Obviously, the economic climate isn't great. And a lot of small businesses are hurting. I'm not quite sure what that's going to mean for the attendees as well. So, of course, the year that I get in, everything's a bit of a shit show. Excuse my language, but yeah, that's kind of the situation that we're in right now. So, so I guess come along with me as we do this adventure. I'm gonna show you my setup and I guess where my booth is going to be this year and any shenanigans that happen over the weekend. So wish me luck and let's do it! Even though the world felt like it was burning, which would soon foreshadow what was to come, it was time to put my existentialism aside and get my head in the game for Sakura Con. I had my checklist ready, everything was packed, had my outfits planned, and was ready to put everything into this opportunity. 504, 505, 506, 509, baby! Look at that! Like most anime conventions, Sakura Con was a 3-day, Friday through Sunday event with day 0 starting on a Thursday. This means any prep and packing for a successful weekend had to begin no later than Wednesday night, maybe Thursday morning. This also means I needed to have enough supplies, product, and any money/resources for myself and my booth helpers to last me the whole weekend. This also includes having things like parking fees or food and snacks to account for. Luckily, I did not have to worry about having a hotel, and because of that, I've learned to unpack my whole setup in one trip. For outdoor markets, where I have a tent, it'll take me no more than 3 trips to get everything, with me and ready. I have my cart, 1 suitcase for product, 1 suitcase for essential decor and shelving, a small bag for my larger decor like my large plants, my office supplies, a bag for electronics like chargers and cables, my personal bag and maybe a little food bag full of snacks, a packed lunch, and a large water bottle. When I have an outdoor market, I'll usually carry a table, a chair, and my tent in addition to all the other supplies. After I finished setting up, I made sure to reward myself with a big bowl of pho in an attempt to get as much sleep as possible. I woke up bright and early to make sure I could eat a good breakfast, find good parking, do some final touch-ups, and mentally prepare myself for the day. Luckily, day 1 was slow but not terrible. Apparently, registration was having issues, so some folks were having to wait in line for at least 4 hours before entering. This was bad for us vendors because that meant less potential customers for the day. But it was a great time to see all the cosplay, get a study on what products stick out to people, and gauge any changes that needed to be made to my booth setup. After the artist alley, I closed up shop and decided to spend some time at the rave. The rave as an attendee has always been my favorite part of any convention. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay for too long because we still had a long weekend, so I left around midnight and made my way back home. After taking a bunch of notes from the previous day, I took my breakfast and my tea out for another early day to do some rearranging to my booth setup. I arrived tired from the previous night, but excited to incorporate the things I've learned for what would be typically the busiest day of the convention. Right as I arrived, I was setting up my table, then all of a sudden, we hear a voice from the overhead telling us that the convention center is asking us to evacuate because of a nearby fire. I continued to put some of my last-minute touches, and I realized that there was smoke starting to fill up the entire artist alley, which was located in the large skybridge room. I recognized the severity of the situation, grabbed some of my essentials like my personal bag and more valuable items, and carried them with me across the bridge where they were holding all the vendors. As I crossed the bridge, you can see the chaos down below where the Cheesecake Factory was completely engulfed in flames, surrounded by emergency vehicles and the smoke that was collecting around the bridge. Good morning, everybody. It is day 2 of Sakura Con, and everything was great until the Fire Nation attacked. Apparently Cheesecake Factory is on fire, but I wanted to take a second since, oh yeah, they're moving us around, so there's a bunch of people just kind of waiting in the lobby now. Most of them are like vendors and artist alley people, and it's been pretty crazy so far. Yesterday, since I didn't get to check in, there was a 4-hour line wait at registration. Here, let's move over here. There was a 4-hour line wait at registration, and now, midway through setup, there is a fire, and it is pretty bad. It looks like there's fog outside. So, on the plus side of today, we are redoing the setup, so I'm hoping it'll be more efficient and easier for people to see, which I feel like is going to be pretty critical considering people may just have even less time to set up depending upon how fast they get this Cheesecake Factory thing figured out. So yeah, today I am wearing, to any Lolita friends out there, I'm wearing my Meta Goldfish Dreaming dress because it's Saturday and I was feeling good. But yeah, that is the synopsis of today. So wish me luck. Hi everybody, Goldfish back again. It is the end of day 2, and I figure I would clue you in on what happened. I didn't get to record anything during the convention, but I will say there is a bit of a happy ending in this instance. So after waiting for a couple hours, like for a while, it was us asking how, like when we were going to be open, and they kept saying in about an hour, and they said that like for about 3 hours. So we didn't actually get into the convention center till about, I don't know, I think it was like 2 o'clock or so. Which, as you can imagine, was a big, huge loss for a lot of people in Artist Alley. We ended up walking around the exhibitors hall and enjoying the convention. And once we went in, there was first off, a huge flood of people that walked in, and they ended up extending the Artist Alley time to 9 o'clock. Originally, we were supposed to close at 6. So it was great, but today has been a very, very long day, and technically the Artist Alley opens at 9 o'clock tomorrow. So I am very tired. But, you know, if I'm gonna make any losses, which I actually don't think I did, but if I made any losses, the one thing I am going to do is have a good time. So even though we're waking up really early tomorrow, I'm gonna go out and enjoy the rave, at least for maybe an hour or two. I definitely can't, rave like I used to, but we're gonna give it a go tonight. But I would say overall, it started off bad, but we're not leaving on a bad note. So, all right, well, I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, and we'll see what happens. By the third day, I definitely was not as bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as I was the first day. I definitely slumped my way to the convention, just counting my blessings and ready for the weekend to end. But word about what happened the previous day had made its way around, and there was a giant crowd of attendees ready to flood the artist alley in support. At the end of the convention, I ended up making just under my anticipated goal, which included expenses like fees and food. When I made my way over to the convention center, I thought that everything in the beginning was doing pretty great. The instructions given for load-in were clear, super easy, and it was definitely a decently warm sunny day. Day 2 was a long day, and the evacuation was a bit of a shock. But also, at this point, I was keeping my expectations low. Mishaps aside, having the volunteers and attendees pull through for the artists was absolutely incredible. Feelings were complicated that weekend. I was tired and nervous, then I was excited and then terrified. When I first entered the building, it felt really cool to see how everyone else was setting up their booths, and it was an honor being amongst so many talented artists, some of whom I've followed or looked up to for a long time. It takes a lot to prepare for an event like this. You not only have to predict your sales, which is very difficult as a first-timer, you also have to give yourself enough time to design product, order, and do any prep/packaging after. But overall, considering I basically did the con on hard mode, I feel very proud of myself. From the con side, I can only hope they'll accept me again next year, so I can really gauge how well I can hold up in a large convention space. Eventually, I'd like to do more upgrades to my setup, like acquire a backdrop rack, because next year, if I'm accepted, I'd like to have some large prints available and hang them behind me, which has been a big focus for me lately. But until then, I'm going to keep elevating my art, make new product, and hope that another opportunity like this comes my way.